Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishnah Is Beitza, Perek Gimel, Chapter 3, Mishnah Hey, Mishnah 5. Behema Shemesa, an animal that died. Lo yazizena mimekayma, you may not move it from its place. Now, the Bartanura points out that the case here is this animal that we're talking about that died is an animal that was sanctified. It was an animal that was designated as a carbon, but then it died. Now that it died, the point is that there is nothing left for you to do with this. There's no benefit you could have from it. As they explain here in the notes, it is forbidden to derive any personal benefit from an offering. Even though it's dead now, but it was sanctified as an offering. You can't have personal benefit from it. Nor can an offering be redeemed after it dies. You can't redeem it after it dies. Therefore, once it dies, it has no use and is muktzah. Right? What do you do with it? It has no use, and therefore it's muktzah. Now, as pointed out by the Bartanura, if an ordinary animal dies on Yontif, not an animal that was sanctified, an ordinary animal dies on Yontif, and the owner expected that it might die that day because it had been sick before Yontif, then it's not muktzah, since he anticipated that it's going to die. And what do you use it for? He feed it to his dogs. You know, right? The Torah says that, right? And no, you feed it you can feed the meat to the dogs. The point is that a dead animal that dies without shechita, you're allowed to have benefit from it. What do you do with it? You feed it to the animals. So over here, the point is that being that if we're not talking about in the Mishnah is talking about an animal that was sanctified as a carbon that died. But it would have been an ordinary animal, and it would have been sick before Yontif. So the owner is anticipating that it could die on Yontif, and he'd be able to use it because it's not a carbon; it's a regular animal. It can be used as dog food. Then it would not be muktzah. Now, the Mishnah continues. Umaise shveshalu esrbitarfan aleha valachada shenitma. There was a story where this happened, that you had this animal that was a carbon, that was designated as a carbon that died on Yontif, or it died and you're left with it on Yontif. And another case, a similar case, which was challah, that became tameh. Challah is we're supposed to take out, when a person makes a dough, you're supposed to take a portion of it and give it to the Kohen. And that challah is the same status as truma. Now, if that challah becomes tameh, it became tameh, and it's yontif. Now, can you do anything with it? So let's read. When making dough, the Torah requires that a portion of it be given to a Kohen. This portion is known as challah. It is treated like truma, may be eaten only by a Kohen and only when both he and it are tahar. If challah becomes tameh, becomes impure, it must be burned. But the Kohen may benefit from it while he's burning it. For example, by using it as fuel for his fire. Truma tameya, challah tameya, you have to burn it, but you could benefit from it as you're burning it and use it as fuel for your fire.
Beat the house.
Whatever it may be. Now, the thing is like this, though. Challah that is tameh has no use on Yontif because the Torah forbids burning it on Yontif. Nor may a person feed it to his dog, for just as the Torah forbids burning challah on Yontif, so too does it prohibit destroying it that day in any other way. Challah becomes tameh is therefore muktzah on Yontif, meaning there is a rule that we do not burn kachim on Yontif. Even though something needs to be burned, and you're allowed to burn it, and you would want to benefit from it in some way, in a Yontif permissible way, at the end of the day, if something is considered kachim, it's considered sanctified, even if it's supposed to be burned, you may not burn it on Yontif. So if truma becomes tameh, which has to be burned, you can't burn it on Yontif. If challah becomes tameh and needs to be burned, you can't burn it on Yontif. So it comes out that you have this challah tameya, nothing to do with it. It's muktzah, right? It's muktzah. Or it should be muktzah. So they brought these cases before Rabbi Tarfon. V'nichnas l'beis hamedrash v'shoal. And he entered the Beis HaMidrash and he asked, what's the halacha? And they said to him, Lo yazizim and they may not be moved from their places. Wherever the dead animal is, where the truma tameya is, these cannot be moved. Cannot be moved. Now, in the bottom, they bring down an interesting point, and that is Rabbi Tarfon didn't know the answer to this question. He didn't understand that it's muktzah. It's pretty basic. It has no use, right? It has no use. we're talking about here the animal dies on Yontif. Excuse me. The challah becomes tummy on Yontif. It's not usable. So of course it's muktzah. What's the question? So they bring it here like this. Rabbi Tarfon certainly knew that these holy items should be muktzah on Yontif. Nevertheless, he thought that perhaps an exception should be made to allow them to be moved so that they not be left in a manner unbefitting their holy status. Meaning muktzah is a rabbinic prohibition. Here we're talking about an animal that was sanctified. We're talking about challah. These are sanctified things. So now just to leave them where they are wouldn't be respectful to what they are. And therefore he thought maybe over here the Rabbanan made an exception to say you could move it in order to give it its proper respect. And on that, they responded to him that there is no exception even in this case. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.